About 252 million years ago, Earth was emerging from the Permian Triassic extinction, the greatest mass dying in history, when nearly 90% of life disappeared. In this fragile new world, climates turned extreme, continents shifted, and ecosystems had to be rebuilt from scratch. In this video, we will explore three key stories of the Triassic world. First, how vast deserts spread across Pangaea under shifting tectonic forces. Second, how powerful monsoons created seasonal wetlands that transformed the landscape. And third, how new forests of ferns, horsetails, and seed plants began to green the earth once more. Together, these chapters reveal how life slowly rose again after the planet's darkest hour. The Triassic Period, beginning about 252 million years ago, was a world unlike today. At this time, all the continents were fused together into one giant landmass called Pangaea, stretching from pole to pole. This vast supercontinent strongly influenced the global climate. Because so much land was concentrated in the interior, far away from the cooling effect of the oceans, temperatures were extreme. Summers were intensely hot, and winters could be surprisingly cold, creating large seasonal swings. The absence of polar ice caps meant the Earth was overall warmer than today, but the interior of Pangaea remained dry and arid. These conditions produced some of the largest deserts in Earth's history, covering much of the continental interior. Despite this, the climate was not uniform everywhere. Along the coasts, where moist air from the Panthalassic Ocean and Tessis Ocean circulated, seasonal monsoons brought rainfall. In these wetter regions, rivers, floodplains, and wetlands supported lush vegetation, including ferns, horsetails, and lycophytes. In contrast, the inland deserts were dominated by hardy gymnosperms such as conifers, cycads, and ginkgos, plants that could withstand the heat and dryness. Plate tectonics also played a role. Pangaea was slowly beginning to rift apart, and tectonic activity influenced volcanic eruptions, mountain building, and the shaping of coastlines. These processes affected both local climates and the distribution of ecosystems. The warm, dry conditions favored the success of reptiles and early dinosaurs, whose amniotic eggs and efficient lungs made them better suited for arid habitats than many amphibians or synapsids. Thus, the Triassic climate, shaped by the presence of Pangaea and ongoing tectonic forces, created a world of sharp contrasts: vast deserts at the center, monsoonal forests along the margins, and evolutionary pressure that pushed plants and animals to adapt in remarkable ways. While much of the Triassic world was dominated by vast deserts, not every region was dry. Along the coastal margins of Pangaea, the supercontinent that stretched across the globe, the climate was shaped by the nearby Panthalassic and Tessis Oceans. Seasonal shifts in wind patterns created powerful monsoons, bringing heavy rains during part of the year. These monsoon systems were some of the earliest examples of large-scale seasonal climate cycles, and they transformed local ecosystems in striking ways. In the lowlands and floodplains, rainfall carved river channels and formed wide wetlands. These environments were rich in vegetation compared to the dry continental interior. Ferns, horsetails, and lycophytes thrived in the moist soil, while gymnosperms grew along the higher ground. Such mixed forests provided a diversity of habitats for insects, amphibians, and early reptiles. Freshwater lakes and rivers supported fish, amphibians like temnospondyls, and the earliest frog-like animals such as Triadobatrachus. Wetlands also became crucial hunting grounds for reptiles and synapsids that depended on aquatic prey. Monsoon cycles were not just local events, they were deeply linked to the arrangement of Pangaea. Because the continent stretched almost from pole to pole, the seasonal heating of land and ocean and floodplains would swell, and ecosystems flourished, but during dry seasons they could shrink back to muddy flats. This constant cycle of abundance and scarcity shaped evolutionary pressures, favoring animals and plants that could survive both extremes. The Triassic wetlands, although seasonal and often fragile, were vital oases in an otherwise arid world. They provided refuge for species that could not endure desert heat and acted as cradles of evolution, sustaining lineages that would continue to diversify throughout the Mesozoic. Even in the harsh, desert-dominated world of Pangaea, plants began to recover and reshape ecosystems. Gymnosperms, conifers, cycads, and ginkgos became the dominant plants, well adapted to heat and dryness. Some, like Voltsia and Araucaria, still have descendants today. Along rivers and wetlands, ferns, horsetails, and lycophytes thrived, forming green belts that supported insects, amphibians, and reptiles. Though seed ferns declined, many plant groups showed resilience, ensuring food and habitats for emerging animal lineages. By the end of the Triassic, these forests had rebuilt Earth's green cover, laying the foundation for the lush Jurassic landscapes where dinosaurs would soon rise to dominance.